for the sake of academic credibility, which we are not aiming for anyway, because we are not an academic institution, we need to have a graph. So we'll show a graph. We'll try to think of what's happening and how to sort of like, visualize it, right? And I suppose we can visualize it that way. The old style blocks are firmly at the top of the lower quadrant, right? Positive doesn't mean good, okay? So we can flip the chart the other way around. They're largely commentary online, right? In a world of their own, an echo chamber. Yawning Friend, not just commentary reporting, but also offline. Also doing reporting, right? But largely online, even though I would say again, in some of the activities like indignation, when Alex is involved, there's a merger of the two, right? But I can see clearly that the new style blogs, and in particular the online season Wayang Party Club, is more like a, well, regular newspaper in the sense that there's commentary and reporting, but they also mix in some activism, that they not only report the news being online, but they become newsmakers themselves, right, by going offline. So when they TOC organize the protests about transport fares, they become the news in fact. So, and self-referentially, so they reported by MSM, but self-referentially they report about their own events. Why is this reporting? Why do we keep harping on this reporting thing? Why is it so important? It may seem relatively minor step, but I think that it's a qualitative leap. As a famous editor said in UK in the 1925, right? Comment is free, but facts are sacred. Okay, and we know that opinion is scarce in Singapore, but in this kind of media environment, duopolistic media environment, facts are even scarcer, right? And the generation of new facts, of just going out and writing the letter, interviewing people, generates material which actually tells potentially a different picture from what the mainstream media does. Okay? So we think that that is significant. Second, well, the second point is that, well, by going offline, they become potential newsmakers, even though there are problems with that. Because if you want to be a newspaper, should there be a separation between being a reporter and being a newsmaker, right? And of course, in the offline world, that distinction is very crucial, right? And in fact, an important part of, well, journalistic integrity, balance, or whatever, right? But in the offline world, that seems to have become mixed up, that they are not just reporters, but making the news. Is that the problem? Is it not? Okay. We have tried to talk to Eugene Yeo and Fang Ziyan, tried to interview them, but they refused to meet us, but they actually replied to our emails. So some of the material that we got for this presentation actually comes from the email interview with Eugene Yeo. Okay. So what seems to be emerging is a more sustained and journalistic type of blogging on some sites, right? The sustainability comes from larger groups being involved. I mean, TOC, what, a dozen people involved. Wayang Party aggregates from different sources. Including SG Politics blog by EJ, and Plans and Preoccupations by Matthew Lee. Even though these two are old style in blogs, but they create a sort of critical mass, so that the blogs, that particular site, right, is updated frequently. You know, I mean, whatever you say about Alex Au, his post tends to be far in between. Okay, so it doesn't have the sense that it is like a newspaper that there are almost daily updates. Right? So whereas TOC and Wayang Party does give the feeling that, you know, it is extremely rich in material. You can find something new every day, right? And that makes them candidates to be, well, online newspapers, right? That you may that may, in the long run, give the mainstream media, stroke traditional media, run for their money. What the new websites can do potentially is, well, set the agenda, and not only that, reframe issues in a way which is different from the mainstream, right? So that is important. As one of the editors said, they want to provide a counter-hegemonic spin to what the mainstream media has. The fact that the government is paying so much attention to it shows that actually they also view that as important, right? But we feel that there are certain limitations with the websites at the moment, and there are four of them that we want to discuss. First is what we call the online-offline firewall, which exists, we think exists, right? Although there's a great deal of political material online, you can have a dozen articles, usually commentary on the most important scholars of Straits Times every week, right? This material consumed by a relatively small number of people, right? We all know that there's a difference between existence of something and its impact, right? And in the online world so far, what is happening is that it's largely, as Simin says, an echo chamber. Quite a number of academics has accused the internet of being. The majority of the Singaporeans do not know what is happening online in the blog. Right? If you are in it, you think it's happening, there's so much stuff, the world is changing, right? But when you ask your friends, you find that most of them do not read the blogs and do not know what is happening, right? The fact of the matter is that until and unless something makes it to the Straits Times or CNA or whatever, what appears online is not really part of, well, the national conversation, right? Not part of the public sphere, but what sometimes has been termed is part of what sometimes has been termed the subaltern public sphere, right? Confined to a small group of people. In this case, subaltern meaning dispossessed political voice outside the power structure.